Okay, so we are on a new perek. This one is clearly part of the series. Okay, this is number 98, and we're going to start on a note of hubris. Okay, I have not said this bold statement in a while, but I think there's a real chance we could start and finish this tonight. Okay, and the way I think that is because I just started learning it with Ken at 6:25, and we finished it at 7:25, and we learned the whole thing. So like unless we run into severe problems, I'm actually like very hopeful that we'll start and finish this tonight. Okay, so that's the goal. So I'm going to go a little bit. I'm not going to go faster in terms of the analysis, but I'm going to. You'll see this is very similar to 96. Okay, so I'll translate like parts that are
It's almost like a Deacons. So
it's like a what?
like a Deacons, same with the same words and has
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is 98. So Mizmor Shiur Lashem Shir Chadash. So first thing you notice here, what do you notice about the way this starts off?
the other.
That's true, but there's something that is unusual in our recent series here. So our last prakim have not started with anything. So look at this. Actually, let's go from the beginning of the book. Okay, of book 4. So you got Tefillah Moshe. That one starts with something. Yoshe B'Seser Elyon does not start with anything special. Mizmor Shir Leim Shabbos, which we know. 93, Hashem Malach Geus Lavish. Kel Nekamos. Then here's the ones we've been doing. L'chun Ranana does not start with any announcement. Shir Lashem Shir Chadash does not start with anything. Hashem Malach Tagel Haaretz. And then now, boom, Mizmor. Okay, so I saw Alter has a fancy word for this. He calls it a 0-degree superscription. Okay, so I had to I asked ChatGPT what that is. So it says a 0-degree superscription is a term for modern biblical scholarship, especially from critical form studies of Psalms, describing a psalm with no superscription at all. That is, a psalm that begins immediately with its poetic text without any headings such as L'David, Mizmor, Maskil, historical notes, liturgical musical directions, genre markers. Now, in other words, 0-degree superscription is a psalm that lacks any superscription entirely. Now, if you say 0-degree, which makes me think cold, but what must you infer that there are? Yeah, other degrees, right? So here you go. 0-degree is no heading. Okay, so like Psalms 1 and 2 are etc. First degree is minimal heading, usually just an attribution only, like LeDavid. Second degree is attribution plus genre term. Mizmor LeDavid, Maskil Lebnei Korach. Third degree is attribution plus genre term plus musical, liturgical, historical notations. So that would be like, yeah, David al Hanaginos or something like that, or al Hasheminis, right? And then I came up with the fourth degree one, which is, which you guys need to work about for, is Hashir Shahayu Halavim Omrim B'Mesa Mekash, meaning a context, a specific context in which it was said. But I don't know if that's probably just a third degree also, but I think the difference is that third degree is like in the actual Mizmor, whereas like let's say for us, if we said like a Kabbalah Shabbos one, that'd be a fourth degree. I'm just making this up. Okay, but anyway.
So okay, can you dumb this down a little? So degrees in general, what do they have in common? What is part of that? What are they?
Meaning what is before the thing starts. So ours is a.
Oh, they're just calling it that whatever
whatever
it is before it's called the degree for something.
Right. Also, hold on a second. Wait. So I don't know why Alter called this a 0-degree. Because the last one was a 0-degree. This is a first degree. Yeah, this is a first degree then. So I don't know what he meant then. Okay. Anyway, so Mizmor, which we'll just translate as is a Mizmor. Yeah.
Is it? But yeah, because the 0-degree lacks any heading. But this isn't a heading. This is part of the same.
Oh, maybe that's what he meant. Yeah.
It's not a separate pasuk, or it's not a separate. It's not like an intro to. Like it's not.
It's fine because he does translate it as a psalm. Let's see what he says in his footnote. This is a 0-degree superscription. The Septuagint adds, so maybe he uses the terms differently then.
Because maybe it could be sing a song.
That's what you're trying to say, right? Joshua is part of the thing. Yeah, I think this is a first degree. Whatever. All right. So Shir Hashem Shir Chadash. Sing to Hashem a new song. Okay. Ki nifla osasa. That he did. Okay, right. For he did wondrous deeds. Now, this next part is hard to translate. Hoshia lo yamino uzroa kodsho. The thing that throws me off is the Hoshia plus lo. Like if it said Teshua lo, it would be salvation is his. But Hoshia lo yamino is weird.
His saving is from his right hand?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. his salvation is from his right hand, uzro'o kacho, and his holy arm, right?
Did you let us sing?
It is command.
But is
Shiru,
it to
command.
us, or is it just to you?
It is to Hashem. Shiru Lashem. But it's commanding you to sing to Hashem.
It's commanding.
Yeah, commanding you. Yeah, you plural. Yeah.
You plural.
Yeah. Hodia Adashem Yeshua so. Yeah, comes from knowledge.
I forget what we used last time, but like proclaim, announce.
Yeah, so this one I think is different. This is I think we've had Tasapru, right? But this is yeah, he made known or I guess he has made known, let's say he has made known his salvation. Le'ene hagoyim gila tikoso. Yeah, to the eyes of the nations, he has revealed his righteousness. Yeah, I'm gonna say righteousness because I like reversing justice for a mishpat. Yeah, zachar chasdo ve'emunaso. So this is also past tense, singular. Yeah, now I'm gonna use the word recalled, and the reason why is because when in doubt, recall can mean to remember or it can mean to bring to memory. So as opposed to just if you say remembered, that is solely in terms of your own mind. You know, so for example, like Zachoris Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho does not mean remember the Shabbos day and sanctify. It means recall the Shabbos day. It means verbalize, like verbally recall. You know, so I think recall is just a better one. Or like Hashem says, you know, Zacharti lach chesed nu'raich. I recalled to you the kindnesses of your youth. Not I remembered for you. Like I recalled you. Like I made you remember. Remind is probably the best English word for it. Yeah, he recalled. Although the difference is that remind does not have the same ambiguity, and I'm trying to preserve the ambiguity because remind would mean dafka for someone else unless you say remind yourself. So he recalled chastov emunaso, his kindness. Yeah, his faithfulness I think is a good one, and his faithfulness. Lebeis Yisrael.
For the house of Israel.
Yep, for the house of Israel. Okay, Ra'u kol afse aretz.
He saw all the
Ra'u. Yeah, they saw all the ends of the earth. Sorry, yeah, all the ends of the earth saw, right. All the ends of the earth saw. Is Yeshua Elokeinu. Yeah, salvation of Elokeinu is not Hashem. Of our God. Yeah. You know I'm Makbid, right? Right. I mean, Elokeinu is Hashem. I mean, we don't translate Elokim as Hashem because if it meant Hashem, it would say Hashem. Right. Okay. And also the possessive is very important. Hariu Ladashem Kol Haaretz.
Announce to God?
I don't like announce. Trua has two meanings. Cry out. So yeah. Declare, no, cry out is better. So cry out. What was it? Oh yeah, I know. I think alter like shout, right?
I think
so
last time this comes with Hariu. It came out like a bunch of times.
Yeah, it did, right. So cry out. So the two meanings are either cry out sadly or joyously. Here's obviously joyously, right? So cry out joyously. Where are we here? Lashem kol haaretz. To Hashem, all the earth, right? Now this one's hard. Pitzchu v'ranenu v'zamiru. Yeah, so Pitzchu, my guess before I read the translations was like open your mouth, because I think there is a phenomenon where like patach and patzach, like the similar sounding consonantal words like patach and pasach, like it is probably also a reverse thing. I meant it in terms of like many times in Hebrew the ayins and the aleph like actually switch. You know, I think someone said that the Ho'il Moshe says this. Let me just look up the Ho'il Moshe. Ho'il Moshe. Pitzku Peh. Upatach Patzach Echadim. Yeah, Nimi Novetsky said this. Like karatz and karas, or charatz and charas. That's actually a good one, right? Both of these mean to dig or to engrave. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so I saw a lot of the what do you call translation said stuff like burst forth in song. They combined pitzchu and ranenu. Okay, so burst forth in
sing joyously and sing.
Yeah, it would be three words for like open your mouth and sing joyously and sing, right? Maybe Zameru. Yeah, I guess insane. Yeah.
You're ignoring the bit.
Yeah, so there's a term that Alter loves using. He does not use it here. Anyone know what a hendiadys is? Hendiadys. That's not. Let's see. Aspartame. Yeah, it's artificial sweeteners. It's good for keto. Yeah, hendiadys. I don't know if this is actually hendiadys. Hendiadys is when you use two words to convey one concept. So, safe and sound does not mean safe, one thing, and sound another thing, or nice and warm. It's like conveying a thing. So like,
comfort.
yeah, right. In other words, you're using two words, but you don't really mean two things. You mean one thing. So like, I think Pitsku Varananu is like burst forth in song. Like it would be another one that is um in English. Like when you use two verbs, but you really just mean one thing. I don't know. Whatever. Fine. So I don't even know if this is henditis. I just wanted an excuse to say that. Okay. Zamru Ladashem Bechinor. Yeah. So this is why I think I knew something was bothering me here. I think make music is probably a better translation. Okay, because I think now you have to say Zamru Ladashem Bechinor, make music to Hashem on the what's your translation of Kinor? Yeah, harp is one. Lyre is another one. Rabbi Moskowitz will always say guitar, but I think that's just some anachronism. Okay, on the let's see the harp.
My suggestion was going to be
yes.
Shut up and color.
I've never heard that.
Really?
No. Is that what your elementary school teacher said to you? Yeah. That's funny. That's a good one. I got it. Oh, okay, that was interesting. Okay. So where are we? Oh, Zamr Lechem Bechinor. Bechinor v'kol zimra. With with
and the voice of singing.
And the voice of song. Yeah, sound of song, voice of song. I think here it means voice, and I'm getting this from. We're gonna go through. We have so much time and so much hubris that we're actually gonna read through the Metzudas David after this. Okay, we're just gonna luxuriate and stuff. Okay. Bachatzot tzuros v'kol shofar hariyah lifnei HaMelech Hashem. We should know this from Rosh Hashanah davening. No. Yeah, on the trumpets. Oops. That's chatzeros. Yeah, on the trumpets. Sorry. Yeah, with trumpets. Yeah, say with trumpets. With trumpets. V'kol shofar. The sound of shofar. Hariyah lifnei HaMelech Hashem. Yeah, cry out joyously. Or sound a trua, if you want to say, before the king, Hashem. How you know we're being joyous? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I see other words.
Yeah, I think it's just assumed here. Yiram hayam umla'o tevel v'yoshveva. Yep, this is I think almost verbatim from last from two program ago. So the sea and its fullness will. I think we said thunder, right? Because we're aiming our thunder. I like. Tevel v'yoshveva. World and its inhabitants.
What is Yiram specifically?
Yiram is like re'im as a noun means thunder. So Yiram is to thunder. The sea will thunder. Roar is also fine, but I like this better. Naharu. No, this one's a weird analogy. Naharu yimchau chaf.
Rivers.
Yeah, will clap their hands. Yeah. Yeah. Right, but it's weird because rivers, you don't really have waves hitting each other.
Yes, and they're really, really strong. Yeah, like rapid.
Right. I think clapping, if two things in different directions coming together.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Is when rapids, they have like the waters.
I guess so.
They're kind of like.
Yeah. Okay. Yachad harim yiranenu. Yachad.
The mountain will rejoice.
Yeah, the mountains will sing joyously. Okay. Lifnei Hashem kiva lishpot haaretz. For he has come to judge the earth. This is another verbatim pasuk. Yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'amim b'meisharim. Inhabited earth in righteousness, and the nations with uprightness. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, that's our perek.
I'm confused by that phrase. Before Hashem, for he has come to judge the earth and will judge the What's the before Hashem?
The mountains will sing before Hashem.
But that's
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess
it?
yeah, you're right. I think this is probably a continuation of the sentence here. Let's just really quickly run through the English translations, the other ones.
but
So we got
Hebrew have a period.
well, there's the end of a pasuk, but there's no punctuation in like you could have one pasuk going to the
Okay. I thought someone added these periods on purpose. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so our scroll says a psalm, sing to Hashem a new song, for he has done wonders, his own right hand and his holy arm have helped him. So they say have helped him, which I do not get because Hoshea, I feel like that's not help, that's salvation. So I don't like this translation here. Hashem has made known his salvation in the sight of the nations. He revealed his righteousness. He recalled his kindness and his faithfulness to the house of Israel. All ends of the earth have seen the salvation of God. Call out to Hashem, all the earth. By the way, as I read this, thing about the pivot point. Open your mouth, enjoy songs, and play music. Play music is actually a good way to say it for Zamiru. Play music to Hashem on a harp. Actually, I like play music. What did I say? I said make music. Oh, all right, fine. Make music is also good. Play music to Hashem on a harp with harp and a sound of chanted praise. Well, that's what Zamiru is. With trumpets and shofar sound, call out before the King Hashem. The sea and its fullness will roar, the inhabited land and those who dwell therein. Rivers will clap hands, mountains will exult together before Hashem, for he will have arrived to judge the earth. He will judge the world with righteousness and peoples with fairness. All right, Nimunovetsky. A psalm, sing to Hashem a new song, for he has done wonders. His right hand and his holy arm have wrought him salvation. That one I like. Have wrought him salvation. By the way, what are they struggling with here? With his salvation is from his. Oh, sorry, Hoshea lo. Salvation is for him with his right arm. Like what's? Yeah, it sounds like Hashem is saving, is being saved. Yeah, right. So that's why ArtScroll avoids that by saying have helped him. But that's why I like Nimunovetsky saying his right hand has wrought salvation, has caused salvation. Now she doesn't have, sorry, have wrought him salvation so him does not necessarily mean he's saving himself, but it's on his behalf or serving him.
The one I'm talking about, he like if it wanted to say he literally brought salvation for himself, wouldn't it be Teshua, as you said, Teshua?
No, I mean it could say it that way, but
what is the between Teshua and Hoshea?
I think Hoshea is a well, first of all, Hoshea is a verb as opposed to Teshua, which is a noun. So that's why they're all translating it as verbs here. Hashem has made his salvation known to the eyes of the nations. He has revealed his righteousness. He has remembered his kindness and his faithfulness to the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have beheld the salvation of our God. Shout out to Hashem, all the earth. Break forth and sing and make music. So she translates it with three terms. Break forth is pitzku, raninu, and zamiru. Make music to Hashem with the lyre, and the sound of music. Sound of music. With trumpets and sound of a horn. Shout out before the King Hashem. The sea and all therein will thunder, the world and all its inhabitants. The rivers will clap their hands together with mountains. They will sing before Hashem, for he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness and the peoples with integrity. Okay, and then altar, a psalm, sing to the Lord a new song for wonders he has done. His right hand gave him victory. I also don't like that because Hoshea, I don't like translating as victory. And his holy arm. The Lord made known his victory. Before the nation's eyes, he revealed his bounty. I don't know where he gets bounty from. Footnote 8. Though in a good many contexts, tzedakah means righteousness, it also has the sense of poetry, of bounty, or beneficent act. And the interlinear parallelism with verse 3 indicates that meaning here. Okay, whatevs. He recalled his kindness and his faithfulness to the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the victory of our God. Shout out to the Lord, all the earth. Burst forth in glad song and hymn to the Lord. I'm not used to seeing that as a verb. Hymn to the Lord on the lyre with the sound of hymning. With trumpets and the sound of a ram's horn, sound loud before the King, the Lord. Let the sea and its fullness thunder, the world and those dwelling in it. Let the rivers clap hands. Let the mountains together sing gladly before the Lord, for he comes to judge the earth. He judges the world in justice and peoples righteously. Yeah, Moshe?
Just a question about Haros.
Yeah.
In Tzadikim Malach, he also says, Naskin Haros, Kolam, Kisan Haros, Dafsham. So this is consistent with
okay.
The Haros.
Nice. Oh, that's good. Okay, so where is the pivot?
How did we translate is this ours?
This is ours, yeah. Yeah, Azia?
I don't know if it's the pivot, but it's possibly a pivot. Is between 1 through, where is it? 1 through 6, and then 7 through the end. Through
meaning through 6, yeah, right. And 7 to the end. Okay, what's your basis for that pivot?
At 7 is which is the future tense. And it says what will happen, and it's also like things that will happen without man doing them versus
Oh, okay.
man, kind of a command to man to praise in the first half.
Okay, I see that. Yeah. Okay, I see that. Oh, yeah, Moshe?
I mean, I was going to say 2 pivot points, but I think more obvious. I would think the more obvious pivot point is starting with 4.
Yeah.
And then to 7, because then that's because we've been talking a lot about people's specific, like the old program. I've been talking about things that God has done, and then reactions to that, what you should do based on that.
Yeah, I think so also. Is that what you're saying, Joshua?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
His 7
But I'm trying to think why.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a distinction Isaiah's making, but
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why. Yeah, this is what I thought originally, but why Isaiah, or like, yeah, because Isaiah also sounds good.
yeah. So I'll tell you my way of doing it this way is, or the 2 things I saw is the first 3 psukim are all about Hashem and what He's done, and then 4 through the end is what we do or have done, and it's a call to action, right? And then also past and, like you said, future or present, right?
I thought of that
Yeah.
way, but the reason I didn't say it is because the first pasuk is showing me what to do.
That's a good point.
So I actually raised the exact point. I think last time was something like this, and
Yes.
I don't remember how you answered it. You answered it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I also forgot I answered it. Yeah. Okay, so let's work with this pivot, but also recognize Isaiah's. You want to hear Isaiah? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do 3 colors just to keep it lively.
It's almost saying AB, like.
What's the phone?
What do you call that? Structure?
Yeah. We call them Venetian blinds. That's what we call our when it alternates between 2 things.
Why?
Well, it's just like you've got the the kind of blinds that you with the slats.
Oh,
Yeah, right. So yeah.
Oh,
You've never been to Venice? Yeah. I don't know what the proper name of that is. Are you seeing that here?
Well, it's kind of only because it's very small. With A, it would be just the very first
To
line,
sing a new song.
and then it goes to
And then Hashem,
things it
right.
does, then another command, and then another.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, well, we can put this in blue just to acknowledge. Sorry, just to acknowledge that this is a command.
It's like a book or like a prelude.
Yeah.
Like, here's what's coming up later.
All right. So I have a theory, which I don't know if Moshe will like or dislike, but I think that this is to explicitly tie it to the previous perek, because the previous perek was am I in the right place? I just am talking. Yeah. No, sorry, not the previous perek. The overarching, because the way we were learning is 96 and 97 are like, that's an ABBA thing. That was all one perek basically. So this is tying to shiur l'Hashem shir chadash, and then this one is still tied there. Which, by the way, I want to show you this also. I mean, I don't think it's a chiddush to say that there are linguistic parallels between this one and 96, but let's use our fancy Ma'abed HaTanakh aggregator. It's not really an aggregator, but we've done this before. So if you look at 96, and then you look at our perek 98. So here are all the parallel phrases. And let's just get this. Wait.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got with 96 niflaosav and niflaos. Then you've got shiur l'Hashem shir chadash and shiur l'Hashem shir chadash. You've got kol haaretz. Sorry, l'Hashem kol haaretz and l'Hashem kol haaretz. And Yeshua so and Yeshua so. And ranenu and Yeranenu. And amim b'meisharim and amim b'meisharim. And Yiram hayamum lo'o and Yiram hayamum lo'o. And tevel and tevel. And lifnei Hashem kiva. And lifnei Hashem kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek. And so clearly this is meant to go with this, okay? And what I said in the shiur description, by the way, sneak peek of the Meiri here. This is the type of thing where you see it and you're like, gulp. He says, Gamze kishalafanenu ein bo shum chiddush. This is like the one before it, there's no chiddush. Okay, but now that's not talking about 97, okay? But like, when you see that, you're like, oh, there's no chiddush here. Okay, so what do we do when we're faced with something like this, like that looks almost exactly the same, we look at the differences. Okay, right? So what are the differences that you spot? Yeah,
I
Isaiah?
noticed the last word. This one, I mean, the Meisharim, I think was the
Yeah, let's look at 96 again. So yeah. Oh, that is interesting. Okay, that's that is interesting. So there are let's call them, there are major differences, and then there are either minor or like stylistic differences. Minor or poetic or stylistic differences. So one is last word of 96 is amim be'emuna so, and ours is amim be'mesharim. But what are the major, I guess, differences, or let's call them like new elements in 98? Yeah, sorry, please, guys, I don't have the 96 there for you to look at. I should have printed up 96. Maybe I still have them left over from the past. No, I think I filed them away. Yeah, Moshe?
It was two differences. First, the other one has, I don't know if that's a major difference, but it has the Meisharim in the other one, and this one doesn't include reference to judging or Minaso.
Okay.
But I would say the bigger one is when it's in the third part. It's talking about what parts of the earth will make music to God. So they both begin of "You're on my island below," but then they switch.
Okay, that is true, but I feel like the other 96 and 97 did have the earth, parts of the earth reacting, right? Or especially 97, right? 97 had, yeah, you want let's just look here. Tehilim 97 had the heavens will rejoice and the earth be glad, and the sea in its fullness will thunder. The field and everything will exalt. Yeah, Isaiah?
Okay. Some differences.
Yeah.
This perek has remembering.
Okay, right. So this is 3, which is Hashem recalling his kindness. Yeah, good.
I think that there's no theme of like Mikdash in this perek. I think 96 was the one with the Mikdash theme section.
Okay, that's true. This one is no Mikdash. Yeah, no overt Mikdash. Although you can argue, actually, no, I'm going to take this away. You can argue in Tanakh, Lifnei Hashem always implies Mikdash, and halachically, this is actually the source of the fact that we do shofar and chatzotros in Mikdash, is kiva Lifnei Hashem kiva, no, b'chatzos v'kol shofar hariyah Lifnei Melech Hashem.
The difference is it's focused on the music in the Mikdash.
Yes, okay, that's a big.
The voda or whatever the other.
Yeah, okay, good. So Rachel says the same thing. So the big difference here is, and this is 4 through 6. Yeah, 4 through 6 is making music for Hashem. That was not present in any of our last 2 programs. Now, singing, yes, with a shiur, but not zmiros. And there's like a bunch of zmiro mentions here, right? There's mizmor, zameru, zamru, kol zimra, and then instruments: kinor, chatotros, shofar, sounding instruments, hariu, right? Yeah, Moshe?
We're not announcing anything to the nations.
That is also true. You're right. The nation are just seeing, right? They saw, but we're not announcing anything. Yeah.
And we don't have to do anything special.
Right. We're not announcing anything to the nations or doing anything special vis-a-vis them. Yeah, Chizkiah?
I don't know if this is I don't know if you were talking about the last part of the nations, or it mentions declare among the nations, but I was focusing on the earlier parts that all the gods and the people are mere idols.
Right.
So that's like a hashkafic claim almost.
Yeah, no avodah zara debunking.
Right. There's no just fundamental truth spoken in like educational way, I guess.
Right.
And then also this one seems to start, or 96 starts with more commands in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just structurally than ours, which I was thinking on your idea of it being a reference. maybe it's because that's why in this one it's like, okay, we kind of went in detail on the commands before.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to do that again. We can kind of just say once,
Right.
do a command,
Oh.
and as we know, like that's like a lot.
Okay, important context, which I feel like I should give you, is that they're not going against what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, just to keep you in the loop here, is these prakim are about the Mashiach time.
Okay.
Okay, just a FYI. Yeah, Joshua? Oh no. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, again, we're riding the hubris train here. Okay, thinking that we can finish this tonight. Okay. I want to read to you some select parts of the Mefarshim. Okay. And with an eye to figuring out these main hold on a second here. I'm sure he knows about it. Oh, so the major questions though that we have to ask here. Okay. Major questions. How would you formulate the major questions other than the usual like
What stage in the messianic process is this?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question, right? So what stage in the I'll call it the Gula Hasida just to be encompassing Hasida is this? Okay, we had the last two programs were setting the stage for this, but this sounds like it's talking about the same time. Yeah, other major questions? The implicit question we've been talking about here is what is being added by these new features? Yeah, Isaiah?
I don't know. This is kind of just in the first question, but like we had the same situation of Hashem has come to judge the earth.
Yeah.
And, like, are we reacting to it differently, or are we treating that the same?
Okay, right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna actually make this a broad question. Why do we need this perek? Okay, to me, that's like the most pressing question, right? In other words, like, we're reacting to the same stuff that we talked about in 96 and 97, right? Is this a different reaction, a different focus, a different result, right? Like this is a lot of more words that are mostly the same.
Meiri's saying that there's no.
Well, I only read that first line. He goes on to say stuff. Yeah.
Well, only the previous two. I think some explicitly talks about the goyim seeing what God does to Israel. I think the other one's only like.
That's true. That's true. Although implicitly, the other ones did talk about the nations seeing and realizing that their avodah zarah is false. Right.
Right, but not talking about what God did to Israel.
Right. That's true. That's true.
This isn't probably specific to this because it's pretty common, but for me personally, I always get little puzzled, and if I'm being honest, a little annoyed. Every time they go on about the trumpets and the shofar and the harp, I'm like, why do we get so specific about all these instruments?
Yeah.
So I guess.
Okay, no, that's a good Tehilim question across the board.
Not a fan of one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 150. It's a killer. Okay, so let's do some Mefarshim here just to get the juices flowing here. One is I just want to read Sadyagon. So as we read this, we're going to see some vindication for our approaches. Okay, which is good. So anyone remember how we explain shiur l'Hashem shiur chadash?
That was us being proactive and telling people before Mashiach comes that, hey, your beliefs are wrong, so that, or is it?
Right. So that is the
big idea.
That is the why, but I'm asking for the what. What's the what do we say? Yeah, this is Johnny's new merch, by the way. Yeah. Say again?
Writing new songs.
Right. Okay. So what's the Havamina? What is the other way to read shiur l'Hashem shiur chadash if it's not writing like? Yeah, because what we said was like keep it fresh, right? That instead of just singing the old songs again and again, when we need to no, we need to be talking about the stuff that Hashem is doing for us now. We need to be generating our own songs about. What would be the other way to read shiur l'Hashem shiur chadash?
Here's the new song for you to read.
Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so check this out. Sadyagon, which I don't know if he said this earlier, but Sadyagon here says, I'm in the wrong perek. Let me make this bigger. Sadyagon, no, that's not Sadyagon. Oh, it is Sadyagon. Nope. That's Heros Rokapach. Sadigon in his says Amru b'makomos ravim shir chadash. It says in many places shir chadash. Hakavana b'kach hasmadas hashir. The perpetual song shu chidusho es achar es, renewing it time and again, hitting refresh on it. So I think that vindicates our perush, right? Because you're doing many, many, many new songs as opposed to just, hey, buddy, here's a new song. Like the other one, I think when we first read it, we thought there's the old song for before Mashiach, and then Mashiach comes, we have a new song. But we were saying it is no, constantly be singing new songs. Okay. All right, so then let's do Metzudas David here. Okay, he says like this. Hoshia lo yamino, Ratzolomar eno tsarech teshua mizulaso, ki yamino hoshia lo. This is a nice shot. He does not need teshua from another one because his right hand is his salvation for him. So what's the idea there? It's a nice, like, standalone idea.
He does the salvation all on his own. He doesn't need any help.
Exactly, as opposed to
other.
Right. Even the greatest king, in fact, in some ways even more, the greatest king needs an army, he needs support, he needs taxes, he needs the people on his side, right? Hashem's salvation is entirely self-initiated and made. Yeah, self-sustained, yeah. Okay. Hodia, make known. Now this, when I saw this, I was so happy. And you tell me why I was happy. Hodia, make known. Terem bo ha-teshua, before the salvation comes, pirsama al yedei hanavim. It was publicized by the prophets. The ata, and now gila tzidkaso le'enei kol. His righteousness was revealed in the eyes of everyone.
That's them going around and telling people about.
This is in our entire way of learning the last two prakim, right? Is that the last two prakim we said we have to control the narrative and set the stage, because when Mashiach comes, it's not like everyone is going to magically recognize him unless we've been talking about it and publicizing the nevuahs and saying what it means and saying, spreading Yedias Hashem and debunking Avodah Zarah. So it'll all fall into place. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that means we learned the last prakim correctly. Okay. Zachar, recall. Hashem Zachar li Yisrael as hachesed sheivtiach be'emunasel. So Hashem recalled for Israel the kindness that he promised in his faithfulness. Okay, so in other words, this is the fulfillment of the promises that Hashem made, which is why it's using a past tense reference, because past tense is often referring to hashgacha that comes from a promise. Okay, right? And by the way, this is kind of obvious, but we'll ask anyway. Why is the Yemos Mashiach called a chesed?
Have to be
so that's number one. The whole thing is chesed. It doesn't have to be, right? Okay, but what's the Rambam's definition of chesed? In the Morning Nevuchim 353 or 354, I always forget. Yeah, it's undeserved goodness. Okay, right? But there's two types of undeserved. One is that it's qualitatively undeserved, which is that we don't need to. He doesn't owe us anything, and the other is
do anything.
We don't need it.
We deserve it less than.
Yeah, is that it's more than we deserve. It's a great degree, right? So Yemos Mashiach is an absolute chesed that not about need but about deserve.
No, I was saying whatever.
Okay, yeah. All right. So obviously, Aretz is hayoshim b'ktei haaretz, the ends of the earth, the people at the ends of the earth. Okay, not the ends of the earth themselves. That's like the far off islands that we said before.
What islands?
The far off islands, the Ruchokim, Yim Rabim. I mean, Bechinor. This is an interesting one. Ratzlomar Bekinor Levad, Gam Bekinor Im Kol Zimra Yahad, Levasem as a kol. Interesting. He's giving pshat about why he mentions it twice. Make music to Hashem with a harp and with a harp and a voice together. Okay, so there's such a thing. So you see from here, there's such a thing as acoustic, like just instrumental music and instrumental music that accompanies the voice. Okay, no, but I don't know what the idea is, but that's that. Yiram is Yishama Kol Re'em LaSimcha. So this is the sound of thunder for Simcha. Umlo O, and its fullness is Habrios Hamamalim. Also, the people or the creations that fill it. I don't know if he's talking about creatures in the sea or the people who are like on the sea. Imchal Kaf is Yaku Kaf El Kaf Kaderach HaSmechim. So if you've ever heard the song, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. That's what the rivers are doing. It's happiness. Okay. V'hu inyan molitza lahoros al rova simcha. It just means a lot of simcha. Yachad is kol hayarim yiranenu yachad. All
the nations are just.
It sounds like, well, yeah, the rivers is the mashal. The nimshal, I think, is all humanity, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yachad kol harim yirnenu yachad. Okay. Oh, let me go back to Sadiq for a second here. Okay. I know it's late or early for Rosh Hashanah. Okay, but you know the classic question of what does it mean that God comes to judge us if God is outside of time? Okay, so check out this great Sadiq. Vamru ki ba lishpot. So what does it mean that God has come to judge? Ein hakavana bo bi'aso hu ba'ofen atzmi. This does not mean that God comes to us himself. Okay, why? Ki hahit atkus, because motion, okay, or literally, I guess I once heard some fancy logician in yeshiva use the word translocation, okay, changing places. Min hamuchash lo'omro klapav is impossible to say about God. Ella ratza bakach hava'aso hamishpat v'hagmul v'ha'onesh. Rather, it means his bringing of justice and reward and punishment. So in other words, when we say that God comes to judge us, we don't mean God is changing. We mean that the mishpat is coming that he's bringing. And mishpat does occur in time. So next time you see all the people say the king is in the field, say, no, no, no. The king's justice is coming, but the king is not moving. Okay, so that's this is good. Always good when you see one of the Gaonim or Rishonim say an idea that like we know from the Yisodos, but like they're saying it like outright, you know?
Say the king's justice.
Yeah, king's justice in the field. Yeah, and it's in your house, it's in your mind, in your heart. Okay, last Metzudas David here.
Are people just being compared to everything in nature?
I think so, and I think we saw this before that in the other prokim that says the mountains and the earth and the forest. That's all mushal for the people. I think the Radak said that it's all the people everywhere on earth.
They said that there were sometimes also like the haughty people like kings and.
That was the harim. Yeah, the mountains melting. Yeah.
Mountains here are not.
Mountains here he doesn't. Metzudas David doesn't say. I didn't check out the other ones. All right, last one. Lifnei Hashem. So this is interesting. Hasimcha tiye lifnei Hashem. Al kiba lishbot. The simcha is before Hashem for the fact that he came to judge. And b'meisharim is b'mishpat hayashar charoy l'chol echad ve'echad. The justice that is upright and proper for each and every person. Okay, so what does it mean that the simcha is lifnei Hashem?
That I say that his presence is more known, but I would expect it to be like in the Mikdash.
Right. Yeah. I also Mikdash is not a bad idea, but I feel like the one that's in the Mikdash is definitely the shofar one. This one, after talking about like all these landscapes, I feel like this is like worldwide. You know.
Right. And I guess because now that his mishpah is known for the entire world, I guess the Shekhinah is more.
Okay, so that you could say is that the entire world is Lifnei Hashem because he's recognized everywhere. Yeah. I have a different shot. Let me actually read the Meiri. Okay, this is the Meiri's theory about the perek here. Okay, he says like this. And sorry, I didn't print out stuff. So Hoshia lo yamino. So Metzudas David says Hoshia lo yamino is stressing God's independence. Okay, Meiri takes it the opposite way. Okay, it sounds shocking. Perush ki ilu haya hu tzarech teshua, as if God himself needs salvation. Now, what idea does that evoke? The idea that God needs salvation? Okay, I'll go one step further. Shibbegulas ha'am hanivchar, that in redeeming the chosen people, nisparsim masha nisbal l'shar ha'umos min ha'emunos, then it's publicized. I think it's talking about what God, so to speak, endured from the other nations in their beliefs. That is like the idea of in all of their tsara, then God is in tsar. What's the there's a phrase that people like saying. Anyone know what the phrase is going? No. About Hashem and tsar. I just don't know where it comes from. Imo anochi b'tzara.
Oh, I'm with like Asian false crimes. Like I cry when Zoro
I am with it. I am with you, or I'm with it in its straits, right? Ukraini va'enehu imo anochi b'tzara, right? I think they associate that with the burning bush, right? That like showing that God is with us in our suffering, so to speak. Or that's also in it's machlokes in Hoshanos, whether we say ani v'hu Hoshiana or ani v'ho Hoshiana, right? So ani v'hu Hoshiana. Actually, I forgot which one's which, but one of them is this idea also that like, uh, yeah. So what's the idea? What's this idea of like God is like as if he is in sorrow with us, and he's in sorrow because of the other umos and their emunos, and when we are in sorrow, it's like God is in sorrow because obviously God doesn't have any pain or suffering. So what's the idea?
What's umos?
The nations, but it's the other umos in terms of their emunos, in terms of their beliefs.
The like the known reality of God in the world suffers.
Right. The Shem Hashem suffers. The reputation of Hashem suffers when we are suffering because we are the nation that is associated with Yedias Hashem. So if we can't exhibit or publicize or teach Yedias Hashem, then it, so to speak, harms the name of the Shem Hashem, right? So he goes on and he's more specific. He says, Shehi hakavana ba'atma, kamosh pirish b'zeh shekasav l'mala, v'chein v'haya Hashem l'melech. So when it says Hashem will be king, kilo ata ino melech, it's as if Hashem is not king now. Right, or like in the Shema, we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and Rashi there says Hashem Shehu Elokeinu Ata Asid Lios Elokei Ha'umos or Elokei Ha'olam. Right, God is our God now, but He'll be God of the entire world in the future. What does that mean? It means in terms of recognition of Him. He says Klomar Shichapru Ktsasa Umos, that some nations deny God. Mehem bi'chalto, mehem b'hashgacha. So some deny his omnipotence, some deny his hashgacha. Ukishis talku elu hakfiros. When those heresies are removed, tamale haaretz dea lahodos hakol b'malchuso. The entire earth will become filled with knowledge to give thanks. Everyone to give thanks for God and His kingship. It's saying by way of mashal that as if God is freed, released from those kfiros, from those denials. Okay, so I actually, even though I like the Metzudas David's idea as a standalone better, that Metzudas David was saying like God saves himself because he doesn't need anyone else. But my question is, why would you ever use that mashal that God needs saving? It still is like implies something bad. So in what sense does God need saving? Not in terms of God himself, but in terms of the Shem Hashem, or in terms of God's ratzon in the world. And when we are in Sarah and there is falsehood around in the other nations because they don't acknowledge God's truth or they deny God, that's bad for the Shem Hashem. But when God brings Yemos Mashiach and removes those Rishayim, then he'll be freed or saved, so to speak. Okay, and that I think answers what we mean by in Metzudas David, segueing now to a main idea. So the Simcha being Lifnei Hashem when he does Mishpat. Okay, so I might have said this before in another perek, but I think it's clearer now. So everyone likes it when Rishayim get killed. Okay, except the Rishayim and their mothers. Okay, right? But we rejoice when the Rishayim get killed. But there's two types of joy. There's a lo lishma and there's a lishma. Okay, the lo lishma is now we're not like oppressed by them and harmed by them. But why should we want the Rishayim to be destroyed?
Further the world from Hashem's design.
Exactly, right. And specifically from Yedias Hashem. And we did read this, I know, but I'm going to read it again because now it really fits. In the last two halachas of the Mishnah Torah, Lo nisavu hachachamim hanavim yimos Mashiach k'dei sheyishlutu al ha'amim, lo k'dei sheyishlutu al kol ha'amim, v'lo k'dei sheyradu b'goyim, v'lo k'dei sheynasu osam ha'amim. The Chachamim and Vim did not want Yemos Mashiach, not so that they can rule over the world. Those Jews wanting to control the world, okay, because we do that now, right now. No, we got to delete from YouTube. And not so that they can rule over not so they can rule over the nations, and not so that the nations can exalt them. So in other words, not for political dominance, okay. V'lo kedei lechov lishtos v'lismoach, and not in order that we can eat and drink and rejoice. Ella kadei sheyu pnuim l'Torah v'chachmasa, rather so that we should be free for Torah and its chachma. V'lo yelehem noges umavata, and we won't have any impediments or things that not abolish or cancel or negate, bittle us from Torah, right? That cause us.
Referred to exactly there, right? I'm not saying that it's ideal right now. Obviously, like there's an opposition against the ideas of Hashem, but like, what exactly is it that it's suddenly going to be like lifted? Like, what's the environment going to be different? Exactly that somehow.
So he'll say that in a second. So that we get olam haba. Here's where he answers your question. At that time, lo yelehem sham lo ra'ev v'lo milchama v'lo kina v'tachlis. There will not be any famine, nor war, nor jealousy, nor competition. Shahatova mushpas harbe. The good will be abundant. That's some of the physical goods. All of the delicacies will be available like dust. The entire involvement of the entire world would just be to know Hashem. And therefore they will be great chachamim. V'yodim devarim hastumim v'hamukin, and they will know things that are hidden and deep. V'yasigu das borim kfi koach adam. And they will have knowledge of their creator according to the capacity of man. Shneimar, as it says, Ki malahar zdeh esad Hashem, ki kamayim liyam mechasim. That the entire earth will be filled with knowledge of Hashem, like the water that covers the seabed. So to answer your question, it's going to be a combination of destroying the Rishayim, right? But not having any physical needs and having abundant physical goodness and no impediments to Yedias Hashem. And then the nature of Yedias Hashem is the more of it there is in the world, the more we will see that it's good and we'll pursue it, and it'll be a virtuous cycle.
No impediments in a physical sense or in a psychological,
both.
Like Yetzer Hara won't be there.
No, Yetzer Hara will. So that's machlokes between the Rambam and the Ramban. The Ramban says it's going to go back to like a Gan Eden type state.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right.
It's not the Gan Eden on this. So
right. The Rambam holds that the Yetzer Hara will be tremendously weakened, but that's only because the biggest cause of the Yetzer Hara is environmental factors. There's and when those are, that's like the Rambam's premise in Hilchos Deos 6, which is we're influenced by our society, Yeah. So I think that's the Simcha Lifnei Hashem, is that it's not just that people are going to be happy because the Rishayim are gone. It's that we'll be happy because now there are no impediments to Yedias Hashem. Okay. And when I read this, I had an experience, and this is not about Rishayim, but I got to share this experience here. And I'm sorry for those in the room who will not be able to relate to this. But so when I wake up on Shabbos morning, okay, that's when I start preparing for the next week of Torah, and when I start learning Parsha. And I love learning Isaiah, but I have my private learning time. Okay, so when I wake up, even if I get a bad sleep and I wake up early, and here's the mashal that kaviyachol, or not kaviyachol, lahavdil, I used to feel like a kid on Christmas morning. Okay, like I jump out of bed and I can't wait to like dive into the Parsha to find what ideas I'm going to be like learning about. And like, I am happy that I can have this time where since it's Shabbos, there's no impediments. Like I don't have to I'm lucky that my work is also like learning, but I don't have to show up for anyone or do any work, whatever. I can just be involved in learning. And they say Shabbos is Me'in Olam Haba for a reason. And to me, that's what I related to when I see this. It's just like what's on the agenda today, like just being involved in like learning and the goodness of the learning. And to me, that's like worthy of like song and making music, But now the question is, why do we need the perek? Like what is with this thing of Hashem recalling his kindness and his faithfulness, and that all this emphasis on making music here? Like why do we need this?
Because you're saying that we already have those ideas elsewhere.
In the last two prakim, yeah. I'm sorry, we don't have the new parts, but we have this idea in the last two prakim of Mashiach will come and everything will be great because Hashem will remove the Rishayim. Yeah.
Could have very well been that Mashiach will come, we defeat all the nations, and then that's it. Like, okay, now go back to learning morning paper. But it's saying, no, even after that, you still have to continue to acknowledge the salvation day after day.
Okay, good. I think that's it. Okay, so and maybe one of us mentioned this earlier, but again, Mashiach is ripe for fantasy. I don't know if you've noticed among people, right? But one of the and again, according to the Rishonim, there will be miracles. According to the Ramban, you're going to be like Gan Eden, Yitar is going to be removed. Fine, but according to the Rambam, Mashiach is all natural. Okay, all organic. All right, except for the Tchias Mason part. Okay, but that might not be the time of Mashiach. That might be like way later. We don't really know what the Rambam holds about that. But what do I mean? So human nature will get better because of the environmental forces. But one of the things about human nature is it will become very easy to take this for granted and to slip back into old habits and old ways. And the way when I was talking about this with Ken, and I gave my Shabbos example, he said, yeah, but if Shabbos were every day for you, you'd have to work to not fall into this thing where you're no longer like jumping at the opportunity. So the way we do that is through constant hoda'ah in a form that is emotionally resonant with us, and reminding ourselves that this is Hashem's chesed, that he didn't have to do this. Like remembering that it didn't have to be this way makes us realize like, oh, we can't take this for granted and we need to continually thank us. You know what's reminiscent of is Bikurim, right? Because in Bikurim, what's the idea of Bikurim? Why do you tell Sipur Yitzis Mitzrayim when you bring Bikurim to the Kohen? The new fruits.
Why do you what?
Why do you have to do Vidui Bikurim? Why do you go to the Kohen with the fruits and then tell the whole story of Yitzis Mitzrayim? This is pshat.
Or to thank God for not for your own firstborn.
That might be part of it. That's not actually what we. That's not. Was that? Yeah. Exactly. Is that you would not have these fruits if you were still slaves in Mitzrayim. God took you out of Mitzrayim, brought you into and killed the firstborn and stuff, but brought you into this land and gave you this bounty that you now have. So the thing is your appreciation of the good you have would be in danger, or you relate to it the wrong way if you did not constantly renew the gratitude in a way that affects your emotions. So I think that's also why, like, I think it's poetic in the sense that you need this perek. Like the fact that we have this reaction, why do we need this perek? We're already thanking God. That's what it's warning against. Yeah. In other words, like you need to sing this other song because don't just think that after Mashiach, it's going to be kicked back in your fancy chair that has the footrest and like just, you need to constantly be thanking Hashem and making it new to yourself and involving your emotions. And yeah. And even in the time of Mashiach, there's going to be a challenge there,
I was just thinking about how my general challenge to Tehilim in the first place is how long they are and how numerous they are. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, if I can't see like a real big difference, because sometimes I get aggravated. So I'm like, I get it. God's amazing.
Yeah, right.
How many times have to say that? Right. And now you're telling me it's like, yeah, get ready for like the next generation of like a whole reality of like.
Yeah. Well, I got some good news for you, buddy. You're not going to get there unless you do this with all the Tehilim now. Yeah.
Start working on this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right. So we may not have answered all of our questions, but I think this does justify the perek. And this is the pivot. The pivot is that you need to recognize the pivot are the two new points in this perek, which is that you need to recognize that Yemos Mashiach is a chesed and you can't take it for granted, and that you need to sustain the appreciation, otherwise you're going to backslide, and that the joy that you're feeling is the joy of removing all the impediments to Yedias Hashem, that you can now be free in His Chachma. Yeah, Isaiah?
I was wondering if maybe the blue section we have here is like, is the perek saying that you have to do this act of praising Hashem for the good that He's done and recognizing the good of that time, and then the green is maybe like the whole world like reacting to like that. The good that's going to come to the rest of the world.
Okay,
haven't done that.
That's good. I like that better. Right? In other words, and that explains why it is 4 through 6 is a call to action, but 7 is just a result. Meaning, if we succeed in doing 1 through 3 and 4 through 6, meaning acknowledging Hashem's chesed and making music and sustaining it, then we'll get the results that were promised in 96 and 97, which we're repeating now, which is the joy of being Lifnei Hashem.
Thunder's a good thing.
Yeah, thunder's joy. Yeah.
What's the difference between Tzedek and Mesharim?
Yeah, I did not look into that. The best place to look into that is Mishlei, actually. Do we see anyone who defined the difference? Because Matzus David didn't. Let me just quickly check out some of the likely suspects here. Tzedek, you mishpat tov l'tzadikim v'hara l'rashayim. So he learns that as actual mishpat. Meiri does not say. Malbim would say, but Malbim learns that this is not about Mashiach.
Well, and this definition of tzedek, but just on its own, we're going with the Rambam's, which is just like the pure justice. Is that what it is? Not like. So
he learns tzedek as giving everything what it needs.
Okay.
And Mesharim, I don't know what the Rambam's definition of that is.
Okay, but it's in contrast to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. But yeah.
But they're for sure something different, right?
It doesn't have to be, not in Tehilim. I mean, I
The
think,
reason I asked that is
yeah.
not just because they're two different words, but because the rest of the phrase on top of it
yeah,
is already very similar. As it is, it's the inhabited earth
Mhm.
and what was the second? What was the last part? And the nations,
Yeah.
the nations, which I would think, what else would the nations be if not the inhabitants of the earth?
yeah, right. I
Is it
those, I think that's an example. The whole thing could be synonyms.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, it could be. Targum says Mesharim is tirutsta, which is truth. They say
Which
integrity
is-
here. Mesharim is truth. Yeah, so tzedek would be the in action, like the practical implementation and what I'm gonna say, Moshe.
It kind of reminds me how it wasn't enough for Basil to just sing the shiur sayam. It's like maybe usually it's like
Hollow.
every year.
Yeah, right. And you see, right. That's a good point. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with this perek. I'm happy to move on to something that is not similar, please. Is this next one is this is your
I mean, it is very different.
very different. It's very different. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is the Moshe and Aaron and Shmuel. That's a weird trio there, right? Yeah, okay, good. So that'll be bleeding editor next time. Okay, this is very good. All right, moving right along. All right, have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
What am I doing? I'm stopping the recording. How do I stop this? There we go.